Go rewatch Man of Steel. He held back the whole time, especially when he was younger. The only time he even punched somebody, his first punch, was when somebody threatened his mom. They went down to the freaking farmhouse or whatever in Kansas. They said, "Where's the Codex?" And then Superman came in and started beating the wheels off his out like, "You think you can threaten my mother?" Like, he was like, "Fuck yeah." I firmly believe that Man of Steel is actually a better movie than the Superman Legacy. I think that's what they call it, Superman Legacy. Or at least it's just titled Superman 2025 by James Gunn. You know, people give hate to Snyder all the time because they say that Snyder didn't understand the character. But I'm here to tell you firsthand that Superman, in my opinion, was never meant to be relatable. Why you not subscribed yet?
Who, me?
Oh,
I did.
You know, even in the comics, you could say that he's a dork, and that they got the kind of the whole like Superman lifestyle part of it down. But that's not fair to Man of Steel, because Man of Steel went through the origin story, went through the beginnings of Superman to start with, from Planet Krypton all the way to when he just got his job at the Daily Planet. Meanwhile, with James Gunn, he already started out 3 years into his career, because obviously the DCU, they're trying to jumpstart the universe and not have to go through the steps of building and the world building process all over again. You know, and that's why the film itself is different, because the beginning is totally separated. It's not even a one-to-one comparison. And when people say that the Snyder film or Man of Steel didn't have Superman, you know, in character, you gotta give room for development. You gotta give room for character change, because Superman out the gate wouldn't always realistically be Superman. You know, just like everybody else, we're all molded by our nurture versus nature, right? I accurately, in Man of Steel, Jor-El sent Superman, or sent Kal-El down to Earth for the purpose of saving, or not just saving, but being a bridge between two worlds, which is canonically accurate to the comics. Whereas with James Gunn, we have Superman being Omni-Man, we have him being a Homelander, we have him being one of these guys, Hyperion from Marvel, that just show up the planets and conquer, divide and conquer. That's not who Superman is. Superman is there to show people, to guide people into the light. He's the last son of Krypton, and he's also a son of Earth. It's not something he just chose to be, it's something that he was destined to be. It was a part of his plot, it's a part of his character. To say that Snyder doesn't capture the essence of Superman is pretty weird, because James Gunn's Superman, while it's accurate in terms of, you know, Superman saving dogs and jumping in front of buildings and catching buildings and fighting kaiju monsters and trying to spare lives and stuff like that, he still had moments of absolute vulnerability that didn't align with what Superman really is. Superman isn't just this vulnerable person. He's a person who takes care to not destroy the world around him. He's a person who views the world as cardboard. Man of Steel Superman, while you could say in the first movie was just allowing damage to take place all over the place, at the end of the day, he was trying to fight Zod. He was fighting Zod. He was fighting his fellow Kryptonians as well. These guys who are hardened warriors, while as Zod put it, he was raised on the farm. So he never really been in a fight before, because he spent all of his life pulling his punches. He never punched a single person because he knew he would kill them on the spot. He never did that. So to say that Zack Snyder's Superman isn't in character is wrong, because number one, he had to develop from a baby, and number two, he had to learn these things. Yes, even Superman has to learn, you know, and it's analogous to even someone like Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ in the Bible also had to learn. These characters have to learn. James Gunn's Superman is already there. He's already established. He's already said to be the most powerful metahuman on the planet. They're already doing this, you know, metahuman government, you know, cooperations and stuff like that, collaborations. That's already happened. That's already been established. Man of Steel is not the same. That being said, when it comes to Superman and just being Superman, like just, saving the world. Man of Steel Superman did all of those things. He saved the world. He saved numerous people. Even at the beginning of the movie, when we first saw him as an adult with facial hair, he jumped into an oil rig, saved these people when they explicitly said that everybody was dead inside of the oil rig in the ocean. But no, he saved everybody. That was what he did, because he was just a god trying to do the right thing. James Gunn's Superman is a god who wants to be a man, who wants to be normal, who wants to be regular, who wants to be liked, who wants to be relatable. We don't need more relatability in 2025. Listen, as a person, as a man right now, I'm not trying to be relatable. I'm not trying to relate to you. I don't want to be nobody that's within whatever. I'm trying to shoot for the top. I want to be as powerful as I could possibly be. Why would I ever walk around saying, oh yeah, you, I'm just like you, I'm just like you. I'm just as human as the rest of you guys. You don't need to explain that. You just need to be that. Henry Cavill, Superman, Man of Steel was that. He was human. The whole movie told him how human he was. They said, over time, he earned their respect. He earned that separation from the other Kryptonians, because the other Kryptonians were pegged as these, alien guys. Imagine in real life, if you had aliens in the sky right now, UFOs, right? And they just showed up. Boom. Obviously, we gonna be tense. We gonna be ready to scrap. We're gonna be ready to blow them off the map immediately. Superman had to not only go in there, fight these guys while also getting shot up himself. He had to prove to the humans of planet Earth that he was not against them, but he was for them. It was a build of trust. That doesn't make him a worse Superman. Snyder cut is not worse than James Gunn. James Gunn's cut was just established. He was already Superman. Man of Steel had to become Superman. So to say one movie is worse than the other is crazy. As in, to say Man of Steel was worse because of that is crazy. And in my final point, to not drag on with this video, I kind of touched on it earlier. Superman and Man of Steel he just is. James Gunn, Superman, has to tell stuff. He has to say these things. He has to curse. He has to say the S word multiple times. Just because, when have we seen Superman curse? You've never seen Superman curse, right? Because he's supposed to be a symbol of hope, not a human. He is not a human. James Gunn humanized somebody who was meant to be a god. Superman is a god amongst men. Injustice Gods Among Us is a video game that literally pinpoints how Superman is the High Counselor. He's the strongest meta-human. Everybody else in the face of Superman is kind of powerless. They're not beating him. Maybe the Flash. Everybody else, they're not beating Superman. Martian Manhunter, you can mind hacks or whatever. He's not beating Superman. Superman taking everybody out. Go read that video game. Go read those comics. Man of Steel came out at that same time. Superman isn't meant to lose. He's not meant to be groveling in dirt. He's not meant to be getting beat up by his dog. He's not meant to be, you know what I'm saying? He's not meant to be in the first scene of the movie. Granted, Ultraman is a clone of Superman. And so I understand that Ultraman is supposed to be the equivalent, if not stronger, because Lex Luthor is a maniac. And Lex Luthor was done beautifully. I have no problems with the other characters. Mr. Terrific was awesome. Green Lantern, all these other guys. Yes, the Superman movie right now was great. Well, not great. It was good for the most part. But when we talk about Superman versus Superman, Henry Cavill slaps. And it's not close. Man of Steel slaps. It's not close. The other characters, this new Superman movie, way better. Lois Lane in this new Superman movie was probably a bit better. These other guys, whatever. Lex Luthor, A1. Way better than whatever he was in Batman v Superman. But when we talk about these Supermen, especially in Man of Steel, Henry Cavill's that guy. He is that guy. James Gunn Superman, no, he's not. No, he's not. For the last time, this is my summary. James Gunn Superman comes off as A man with the powers of a god who wants to prove to everybody else that he is just a god, that he can fit in, that he can be relatable. Relatability was once a good thing, but this world is too fucking relatable. Fuck being relatable. Why not be what you are? Man of Steel Superman knows he has these powers, and yet he asks God, literally in the movie, why would God do this to him? Because he's struggling with accepting the fact that he will never be an actual earthling, while also, you know, being raised on the farm as an earthling. You know, we see Henry Cavill drinking beer. We see him watching sports and stuff. We see him doing regular human activities. We see him in bars. We see him working regular jobs like a bum because he's just a guy, right? But he didn't have to try to just be a guy. He just was. There's a difference. One guy is him. The other guy is trying to be him. And being soft while doing it, getting his ass beat up and down the film like. And granny, yes, Superman 25 has some great action. You know, especially when he was spinning around and grabbing freaking poles and slapping people with beams and stuff and smashing stuff, and like he was going crazy. He was feeding people. You know what I'm saying? Superman's not supposed to know how to fight like that. Man of Steel Superman had to learn on the fly against trained warriors who dedicated their lives to fighting, and yet Superman still beat their ass and won at the end of the day. And he didn't get hurt while doing it. One Superman is actually Superman. The other Superman, I don't even know what to say. He ain't my Superman. Shoot. Put me in there. I'm the next Superman. You know what I'm saying? I'm the next Superman. What you mean? You know what I'm saying? I'm finna fly over there right now. We finna roast Corenswet right now. You ready? You know what I'm saying? 3, 2, 1. Wait. It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's super nigga. My soul emotionally. Like I'm gonna make this a little epic as hell. Watch.
I bet.
It's in my head right now. Are you ready? But look, so finish up the point though. Listen, this was a good movie. I'm not even gonna front. It was a great movie. I enjoyed watching. But Man of Steel was still better. You know the other reason why Man of Steel was better? The soundtrack. Dog. Man of Steel soundtrack is legendary. It was good. Why you not subscribed yet?
Who, me?
Oh,
I did.
But yeah, man, look. Number one, if Superman was actually real, everybody's getting destroyed. The fact that the whole city didn't get destroyed in that fight with Zack, like, goes to show, you know what I'm saying? In his first battle too, because people forget that was Superman's first battle in Man of Steel, and they rectified that issue in Batman v Superman. As god awful as that movie was, the plot said that Batman was angry at Superman because Superman cost or endangered millions of lives. So therefore Batman needed to rein him in or take him out, one of the two. You know, that's off top of the head. I've been watching Batman v Superman since it dropped, because I laugh at that movie when I think about it, because it was pathetically bad. But we're not talking about Batman v Superman, we're talking about Man of Steel. You know what I'm saying? Listen. He just said a good point, right? Aura farming. That Henry Cavill and Man of Steel, all they did was aura farm the entire movie. Aura farming, for those who don't know what that is, means looking cool while everything is going on, like explosions and people dying and stuff, but you just more concerned about looking like you're that God versus saving people. You know, you don't want to save the world. I'm just gonna look like while the whole world getting obliterated. You know what I'm saying? But no, he wasn't R farming. He just was. There's a difference between trying to R farm and just being that guy. Henry Cavill was that guy. He literally came out, didn't know how to be Superman, learned everything kind of on accident or by God's divine purpose, if you want to interplay that. But in the movie context, he learned that on accident. He learned about the Fortress of Solitude. He learned about them Kryptonian ships. He learned about Jor-El and all that other stuff on accident. He just rolled up on it. That wasn't what he meant to do. But he had to learn to become Superman. This guy didn't learn nothing. He was already Superman. He jumped out the gate Superman. So you don't even know what his beginnings was like to say that destruction was the reason why that movie sucked. You crazy as hell. Crazy as hell, bro. What's good, bro? But people talk about art farming but look, the soundtrack of Man of Steel is gold, bro. What are you gonna do when you save the world? Even the flight theme, that Superman versus Zod theme, whatever that played at the end of the movie when they was doing that Dragon Ball Z fighting. Like, that can't be topped, bro. Hans Zimmer is a god of music. Hans Zimmer can look at John Williams and say, we had the same dinner table. Hans Zimmer can look at John Williams, the original Superman theme, which this guy took and just, you know, redid over and over again, right? The classic Superman theme. Da, 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 da. We love that theme. That theme is awesome. Snyder dared to be great. Snyder dared to be different. Man of Steel dared to have a slightly different interpretation of what if we made Superman into, instead of just this, you know, it's a bird, it's a plane. No, it's Superman. You know, what if you grounded him in reality and gave an actual realistic take on what if Superman was real? How would people react? John Kent said it best. Jonathan Kent, his Earth dad. The world's not ready for you. But then Superman, Kal-El, Clark Kent said, as a kid, so what do? I just let him die? He had his human struggles. He had his problems. He had his humanity. His humanity was present. That does not mean he was a bad Clark Kent. That does not mean that he wasn't at every bit the same level of character as this guy. Even on the human level, he was petty. He put sticks in trucks. He got back at people when they just constantly mocked and bullied him because he had no choice but to show restraint. He needed to show that restraint. The same way that you say that this guy holds back all the time. Go rewatch Man of Steel. He held back the whole time, especially when he was younger. The only time he even punched somebody, his first punch, was when somebody threatened his mom. They went down to the freaking farmhouse or whatever in Kansas. They said, "Where's the Codex?" And then Superman came in and started beating the wheels off his eye like, "You think you could threaten my mother?" You know what I'm saying? Just going crazy. Like, he was like, fuck ass. Yeah. But yeah, man. Stop hating on Man of Steel. Go rewatch it. It gets better every time you watch it. This movie right here was good. It was a great Superman film. It's not better than Man of Steel. Case closed. And it's not better than the next Superman, which is me, Super Nigga, right here. Da 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 da. Super Nigga, Super Nigga, da 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 da, Super Nigga. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, like, comment, subscribe. I'm gonna mute that out again. It's been real. You ain't saying. Tap into the next video.